Guys, I'm sure you've probably experienced this. Have you ever dealt with a revenue agent that it sort of becomes obvious they're not really all together? They're a couple sandwiches short of a picnic. They've just lost their minds. What do you do when you're dealing with an auditor that's just, I hate to say it, batshit crazy? Um, we've been dealing with several of these, and our tax rep members have. The IRS has done a lot of hiring over the last 2 years. Now, I know I've done a video in terms of the current administration and what they're going to do to the IRS. Well, that'll be an ongoing story. But what do you do when you've got somebody that you need to deal with and they are just out of their minds? Either they're just being jerks. I'm sure you've again run into this. I'm not allowing that. How do you deal with the auditor that's batshit crazy? Let's get into this. All right. Now, there are a couple things. One is how you deal with them or how you try to deal with them. And then I'm going to talk about how we go nuclear back at them. All right. So let's, again, we'll go through this. So you have an auditor, you're dealing with you, they're in front of you, and they are just being, it could be on the phone, it could be physically there, but this is what your client's got to deal with. And they're just being unreasonable or they're outright crazy. I've dealt with both recently. Couple things. Number one, let's just back up a little bit. Let's talk about how an audit actually runs. So the auditor is supposed to review things. They can propose changes. As long as there's at least 12 months left on that, the ACED, the audit statute, they'll give you the right to go to appeals. If there's not 12 months left or you're not cooperating, they can issue a notice of deficiency, gives the client 90 days to file in tax court. First and foremost, when we're dealing with somebody who is just being irrational, um, so first of all, I always respond in writing. I will fax them. Even though I could call them, I send a fax. I send a fax. Why? One is I want proof that I responded. So that fax confirmation sheet. But two, it's now in the IRS system. They can't deny that they got it. I've had this where I've had folks come back and been like, yeah, they never responded. Yeah, taxpayer's representative never responded. In fact, they did that, and my client got the letter a day before I did, and the client called up and they're yelling at me. Why didn't you respond? Whatever. I'm like, of course we responded, and I sent the fax to them. And they called back. They said, "What is this idiot talking about?" I'm like, "They're being a jerk." So I responded to them, saying, "We got your letter. Here's the copy of our response and the fax confirmation sheet. I don't know what you did with it, but we responded. Have your supervisor call me." So first and foremost, what we're going to do, we respond in writing. I want a written paper trail that we responded and what we responded with. Um, I've had one threaten my client. I'm not allowing that because it was the son. The son legitimately worked full time for the client's business. It's the son. They're obviously gifts. So I sent a fax saying, first of all, you don't need to yell at me and threaten me. All right. You're in violation of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. Second of all, the taxpayer's son works there full time. In fact, this is the number one salesperson. We have witnesses to that. If you want, I'll get you affidavits. But your basis for denying it seems to have not is not based in reality. All right, could you please either send me what your basis is for this, or explain why you're just simply randomly disallowing it? They changed their tune completely. It was in writing. It's in the file. The supervisors are going to see it. So first and foremost, do that. That often will get them to calm down because they're not going to be able to just bulldoze over you. If that's not working, you want to talk to the supervisor. Now, if they refuse, and I've seen this too, they try to refuse, my supervisors want to talk to you. You can go to the Taxpayer Advocate. It's the Form 911. There's an advocate's office in every state. The Taxpayer Advocate has a great website. You can go and you elevate it to the advocate. Also, stakeholder liaison. Every state has stakeholder liaison. These are the IRS folks that deal with the professional community. I would elevate it to them. One, they will get the supervisor to call you. And number two, they will also get involved, and that will also often help smooth things out. Now, if you're a tax rep member, I just call the chief of audit, the director of audit, and tell them, hey, I'm having a problem, and they'll send an email and everything will get smoothed over. But most people don't do that. If you're a tax rep member, you email me and I'll deal with it. I'll get it elevated for you. That aside, right? We elevate it. We continue to elevate it till we get to somebody normal. Worst case, but I want you to just walk. I want to make you understand what's the worst thing they could do. Now, it's a pain, but so what? What's the worst thing they can do? They go ahead and they issue a notice of deficiency. Now, when they do that, clients got 90 days to file in tax court. They deny all the deductions. When that comes out, it looks terrifying because it's a huge number. They hit them with the penalties and the interest. We get the case filed in tax court. All right, they're fillable forms. The taxpayer can even do it pro se. You file it in tax court. If the case has not been to appeals before, it will get sent to appeals. It says it in the Internal Revenue Manual. There's a revenue procedure, 2016. I don't remember the number offhand. Maybe 28. Message me or put in the comments below, and I'll go look. I'll grab it for you. But what it says is, hey, counsel, if you get a case and the case has not been to appeals, send it to appeals. All right, let's see if we can get it settled without litigation. Okay. You always elevate. So you go to appeals, you get to an appeals officer, you provide the documents to them. If the auditor didn't look at them, the appeals officer will make them do their job, all right, which I enjoy doing. I mean, truthfully, given what I do for a living, if I have an auditor that say, look, we're clearly not communicating here. You don't seem to understand. I don't care what you do. You can deny it, and I'll tell them, you can be an asshole. Deny everything. Okay. I'm going to file in tax court, going to go to appeals. You know what appeals are going to do? They're going to make you do the job. So why don't we just work together and try to get out the other side with the right number, right? I mean, we're all in this together here. In other words, I'm all about win-win, right? We like win-win. But if you think we're going to play win-lose, my clients don't pay me to lose, right? I'm quoting the great Frank Agostino. Anyway, that was Frank's quote, and I love that quote. But it works. But the point is you elevate it, right? You can go to the taxpayer advocate, you can go to stakeholder liaison. If you really feel at this point that you need to go nuclear back, the way that you do this, you respond to them, you file a complaint with TIGDA, the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, right through their website about an abusive IRS employee. You send that same complaint to stakeholder liaison and to taxpayer advocate. Now, those three agencies may or may not do anything. So what you do is you contact constituent services for your taxpayers' Congress person, congressman, congresswoman. Every person in Congress, U.S. Senate and U.S. Congress, has someone on staff that does constituent services. They like to help their constituents, all right? And they also enjoy kicking the IRS. That's very in vogue right now. So I send it to them, and I'll also send it to the staff at the Ways and Means Committee of Congress. Now, is the Ways and Means Committee on C-SPAN going to discuss my client's case? Of course not. They're going to give it to one of their staff people, but here's what happens. The IRS now hears from IRS, revenue, the auditors, TIGDA, taxpayer advocate, and stakeholder liaison. They're all going to start getting called by constituent services from the Congress folks and the staff at the Ways and Means Committee. What are you doing with this? What are you doing with this? Mere observation changes behavior. When that starts, they're now going to have to act. They have to do something. TIGDA is going to have to respond with how they dealt with this. So you basically amp up the pressure on the government to do something. Look, I'll tell people when I get a call, all I want is for the auditor to look at the paperwork. My client shouldn't have to hire lawyers, go to tax court and litigate this. It's a waste of the government's resources, quite frankly. And it's a waste of my client's limited resources. Why can't we just get to someone? I've gotten cases reassigned. I've had the supervisor review everything and just agree with me. I mean, it'll get to appeals. The point is you will get it straightened out. The lesson I want you to take away from this, we do not sit and allow some auditor, some junior auditor to go bulldozing over us, all right? I'm sorry. No, not happening, okay? I don't want to offend anyone, but that's kind of my attitude. I want to work with you. This should go smoothly. There's no reason for this to be contentious. But if you're going to make it contentious, we're just going to elevate it. And honestly, you're going to end up doing the work anyway. So let's just get through this. Okay. And don't let them bully you. Understand there are places to go. If you have a problem, you can come to us. Come to tax rep. We'll help get you to the right people. No problem. All right. So, guys, that's my quick lesson for today. When you're dealing with either the auditor that's batshit crazy or just someone who's difficult, someone who's ghosting you, you elevate it. All right. All right. You got TIGDA, you got stakeholder liaison, you got taxpayer advocate. Worst case, you take it out off the reservation and you go to constituent services. That's now like declaring war. The supervisor, they're not going to be too happy. So you want to give them the first opportunity to try to deal with it themselves. All right. But that said, I hope you got something out of this. If you have dealt with this, you've had a bad auditor, you've had the difficult revenue agent, whatever, the crazy, go in the comments and let us know. All right. Tell us your story. Comment. We love the feedback. If you like what you're doing, if you hit like and subscribe, it helps us spread the word. But I love to get the comments back and see what people are dealing with and have dealt with. We're all in this together. So hope this is helpful. I hope I hope you're not dealing with this, but if you do deal with it or you are dealing with it, understand there are places to go. You don't have to let yourself get bullied by the agent, and you can help your client and get to the right answer. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for checking out the channel. I'll see you in tax rep. Bye-bye.